Hello, welcome back to my channel. Let's create an ancient book cover. It's pretty much a replica of Leonardo da Vinci's notebook covers. And I have made several similar covers. If you want to check out them, you can go to my Instagram and the highlights. They are under the junk journal label. So I have pre-made some items here, but I will show you everything step by step. Firstly, you will need some thick paper or hobby paper or cardstock. You can also use recycled cardstock, for example, these things that you get from sheets and different kind of textiles. I've used this now as a mock-up for the shape of the book. You will need several, and I will explain later on how many. And this is just the shape, and we will also add some details to it. But firstly, I will show you what you need. Glue. This is a strong, full-strength PVA glue, but I think any PVA glue would do the trick. I have just poured it in this smaller bottle to make the work job easier. Then you will need a brush for the glue, then all kinds of inks. I have used distress oxides and dye inks, and this one, dye ink, I think, pigment ink. Any kind of inks will do, and you can mix metallic inks and whatever you have. I also have used some re-inkers. This job requires also these tools for inking, also sponge. Makeup sponges are okay, but they are so messy that I don't like them. But you can use whatever you have. And be creative. Whatever item you use, you can even use crumbled paper and make some details with it. Texture. There are no rules, but this is the basic way, and you can alter it just as you like. The colors I have used are different shades of brown. There's walnut stain, brushed corduroy, ground espresso. This is also walnut, but it's like a darker shade. Black, and this is quite good. Fossilized amber. It makes a nice how should I say it? Contrast, as you can see here. This is a basic paper with some stenciling. We are not going to stencil the basic papers, but if you ignore the stencil marks, you can see the different shades of brown and the fossilized amber in here. It makes a gorgeous ancient look. Here's another one with stenciling, but think about this like an example of the colors. I will firstly make the basic paper sheet, and then I will show you later on how to stencil it beautifully. It makes a more interesting cover if you want something else than just the basic one. And also at some point you're going to sprinkle some water. You can use your fingers if you wish, or some kind of tool, or use kitchen utensils, whatever you have. A whisk would be nice for sprinkling the water. I will show you some different styles I made in advance. These are the bases, and I have sprinkled some water on them. And you can see it's lighter, very much lighter than the finished product. When you add the glue on it, it will turn much darker, and the layers like pop up. Here's another one. Lots of water puddles. I've used them to create those this moldy style. And here's one where I started with several ink blots, and you might want to use gloves because it's very messy. Then there's this one where I first added some glue on the white paper. I made these marks, and then I inked it, and it looks like that. All of these need the glue on top, and because this process needs a lot of ink, I always save my underpapers. For example, this was my underpaper, and it's the paper what you put to shield your tabletop when you are inking, and you will get a lot of ink. All this, let's see, all this darker color is from the leftover ink when I have used this as an underpaper. So you will save a lot of ink and nothing goes to waste, and it gives you the most interesting results. So save your underpapers. They are very handy. Now I will take this paper. It has some leakage from these creations, and it's okay. It's actually a good thing. It adds to some interest to your papers. Now I often start with the lighter colors. Let's start with this fossilized amber. The usual way for me is to leave the centers. Think about this as the covers. That's the center, and this is the front, and that's the back. So I like to leave some space that breathes, so that it's not inked at the same way everywhere. Let me show you. Here, I have left these centers lighter. That way the print breathes. It's not so fully packed. Just randomly add the ink, and you can make some different kind of images or texture with your tools. Then the next shade, brushed corduroy. Okay, I broke this one. I have to change it. Just a second. There. Add more color. Just randomly. But leave the center lighter. You can also use the pad directly to the paper, onto the paper. All the way round the paper, around the paper, everywhere. This paper is, let's see, I forgot to say, it's some kind of hobby paper, thin watercolor paper for kids. It works very well in this one, and it's not very expensive. There. The next color, walnut stained, is just oxide. That one is for the black. You can put some dark shades over the centers, but not too much. I've made several of Leonardo da Vinci's notebook style journals, and I loved the projects. So this is the kind of covers I have used, and they are strict, or the journals that I made were strict replicas. I used as a closure. Oh, sorry, there's some construction noise. I will close the window. The closure, yes. I tried to make it as real as possible, so I used even a bone button or bone bead for it. I purchased those from a Finnish bead shop about 10 years ago, and I just knew that someday I would need them, and yes, they came handy with those Leonardo da Vinci products. Okay, this is starting to look quite layered and grungy. Now to the even darker shades. Let's use this ground espresso. And maybe this one. You can go and Google Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks to get some inspiration and to get more idea of the covers that we are heading to. They are very inspiring. This is starting to look dark and smudgy. Now, just a little bit more. There. Then the final touch, some black and some ink blots. Let's see if I have that black already here. No, it's somewhere. I have to find it. Just a little bit of black carefully around here and a little bit over there. That gives a very moldy look. Like that. Then maybe some distress oxide, that fossilized amber in the center. And this is why it would be much better to use those underpapers to avoid using so much ink. But this method needs lots of ink, otherwise it won't look layered and old enough. I will keep on putting this ink on and working it through the paper. There, it looks quite good already. But now we're going to sprinkle the water. I will start with this mist. Puddles on the center. That will look good. And a little bit everywhere. And then some sprinkles all over. Large sprinkles with your fingers. And smaller ones with this tool. I think I will put a little bit more water on the center. Okay, looking good. Now it has to dry up. Let's wait a while. While it's drying up, I will add some glue to these that I have made earlier. You will need several sheets because what we are going to make will be this elongated paper or cardstock shape, and there are several ways you can do this. It depends on how large you're going to make your journal, but this is the basic form. It's like this, and it has this little flap over there, and according to Leonardo the flaps have these little cutouts here. Let's make it even with this, with the help of this one, this corner. And there will be this closure from here to here. I could make a hole over there so that you can see better what I mean. There, a smaller punch hole. Let's make a little mark in the center, about here. There, and then it comes here. Let's make a mark, and there will be the other side of that closure. Like so. Can you see it? This is the shape that we are going to make. So we need a lot of sheets. Okay, now these have already been sprinkled with water, and they are now dry. They have to be completely dry before you add glue. Let's see, maybe we could start with this one. And now you can see how it changes the color. Add glue quite generously. I have used some Mod Podge, and at least the type of Mod Podge I used, it has this sticky finish. The surface was sticky and I didn't like it. Then I tried this glue, the PVA glue, and it worked so much better. It's not sticky at all, and also it doesn't make the paper hard. It's flexible and you can work with the paper afterwards very well. There might be other finishing products you could use, but this is what I have found to be not only very useful and handy, but also it's not too expensive. Now, can you see the difference? It's starting to get darker, and it looks like the layers are showing up. They come alive. So one down. It has to dry now. Next, this one. I'm using a regular paintbrush for the glue. I often purchase my tools from the hardware store, or I go through my kitchen utensils and see what has not been used for a long time, and I claim them as my crafting tools. In the hardware store, the items are often much more reasonably priced than on craft stores. So you see, it's starting to get a rich dark color, and the layers are showing up. Okay, now we have two already glued papers. Now put your brush into water, just the brush, not the metal side, the metal part, and wash it with soap immediately so that it won't get too crusty. And now we will stop here. You could make 4 of these for the next part of this series, and we will continue when they are all dried up and ready for the next step. Okay, thank you for following me with this tutorial, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye!